Hello, hello, hello. And we are back in the room and we've got two beautiful people with us now. Hello, Karen. Karen sneaked in. Good to see you.
Hello, Motivational Monday. Yeah, and I just ran in through the door, bum on seat, and now we get to have an amazing conversation.
With yet another beautiful dress. Karen and I were hanging out yesterday at the wonderful Kerry Ridley's new My Little Bookshop, and I have been pushing it today because I want people to go and see it as much as possible because it's such a magical place. But we also have a very special guest with us today, and it is a lady called Alice McDonald. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you so much for having me. It is like all of a sudden everyone's just arrived, right?
There's always a huge energy in this room. Things never go right electronically because there's always something actually happening here because there's so much energy. So Alice, I'm so delighted to have you here because you were introduced to me by a mutual contact, the wonderful Agatha Dharma.
Oh, everyone loves Agatha.
Yeah, so she's from the new Digital Solutions program that used to be the old ASBAS program, which I promote regularly for mumpreneurs if they want to upskill. But yeah, you're here today to talk to us a little bit about your own business and maybe a little bit about your journey and how you can help. So I'm going to say, if it's okay, over to you. Tell us a little bit about who you are and how you help.
Yeah, sure. So my name's Alice and I'm a separation and divorce coach. So I primarily work with women who've got older teens or adult children to support them through the process of separation and divorce, which can be super challenging, but then also to set them up so that they can move forward powerfully and create and design a life that they really want to live and have success based on their own terms beyond being a wife and a mum.
Yes. Yeah. I think that will resonate with a few of our listeners out there because, you know, we are wives, we are mums, but we also have another side to us as well. And some people forget about those skills because of the dedication to the marriage, you know, and being a homemaker. And so
it's also a sensitive time. It's a very sensitive time, one that has to be navigated. You know, it can be everything up in the air and trying to, I suppose, what you regenerate, I suppose, or what you call that
that's
word.
Right. No, it is. It is. You are.
A new self, really, isn't it? Identity.
Yeah, look, and there's a lot of, you know, healing that has to go on during that space as well. There's a bunch of practical things that need to be managed, like you don't have any choice about it. So, you know, already you're overwhelmed with the emotion of it all. And sometimes it's just like, you know, getting out of bed is really hard, but you've still got more stuff to do. Now you're doing it on your own and you don't even know how life is going to look in, you know, 3 weeks, 2 years, whatever. It's just about surviving a lot of the time.
Everything you knew to be has changed.
Yeah.
That's the thing, yeah.
Yeah, you're looking into a future. Time. Yeah, it's a really scary time.
So how do you help and how do you typically hear from people and yeah, if you can kind of tell us a little bit about that, because I'm sure there are a few people out there that will probably want to maybe talk to you after the show today.
Sure. So I found that people come to me in 3 different phases. So often people approach me when they're still married.
Yep.
And sometimes there's a case of infidelity and that's something that they want to talk through, like, I don't want to leave this marriage because I've been in it for 20 or 30 years, but this has just happened. I don't know what to do. Sometimes things just aren't going right. They don't know what to do. So sometimes they'll talk to me then. At other times, people have already made the decision to separate or it's been made for them. That sometimes happens as well. And again, I don't know what to do. It's so overwhelming. You know, it's like when you have a baby, everyone wants to give you advice.
Yes, that's right.
And everyone's got different advice and, you know, there's nothing, you know.
It's not always good advice.
You have to know what's right for you, though, and just
exactly right. And so often people will come to me in that sort of space. And then sometimes, you know, it might be the case that, you know, people have been separated for a couple of years and they just haven't got their mojo back, or they haven't actually gone through the legal separation process as well. Like, again, I don't know what to do.
Sometimes I can imagine people focus on the end more than the new beginning, and they need help to see the potential in a new beginning and writing that new chapter in their life. You know, I can just imagine that.
Oh,
that would
absolutely.
Because you're everything you need to, like 20 years in a marriage, you know, and then if you have older kids as well, they're going to be going through things. You're going to be supporting them as well as yourself.
It's literally having a new identity, like you say, you know, because you've been a couple. it's a partnership. You're entwined, you're ingrained with one another's habits, you know, and lifestyle. And then all of a sudden, you know, for some people it can be, I have no doubt, very liberating as well.
Yeah, I was going to say the freedom.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Sometimes there's that as well. But, you know, there's often a lot of guilt and shame associated with this. You know, like if your marriage is something that you really valued and you're like, shit, I failed, right?
Yeah.
You know, and there's a lot of shame associated with that. And also, now what do I do? And you talk about, you know, there's the things to deal with what the kids are challenged by.
Yeah.
But not only that, if you're doing it at a time when your kids are in their teens or they're already adults, you're already in that space of, well, what's my purpose now that I'm not a mum anymore, right?
Yes.
And doing that at the same time as ending your marriage, like you've got this double whammy transition between I'm not a wife anymore, I'm not a mum anymore. Everything I ever imagined for my life is no longer there. What do I do? Who am I now?
Yep.
And as you mentioned before, Ali, you know, often we get lost in, you know, being a mum and a wife.
Yep.
So it's a lot about rediscovery during that phase. Yeah.
One of the funny, just came to my mind. I remember one of my nearest and dearest, I won't name names, was getting divorced, and she actually put on her wedding dress and bounced on the trampoline. They had a big party.
Oh my
This
goodness.
divorce party.
Oh, that's
you know?
I've heard about these. I must admit, I've never been to them, but I've heard that people have divorce parties.
And it's that freedom thing again. Obviously, that's focused on the new beginning rather than the end, or maybe they'd already dealt with the end a long time ago. You never know. But there has to be that transition, because how are you supposed to heal your heart as well?
It's a long journey, I think.
The thought of getting on a trampoline, though, for me after 3 kids is not something that is really
I'm so there
inspiring.
with you, Ali.
I'd be on my regularly.
Oh my God, no! I don't think my bladder's going to hold out to that. But anyway,
Yeah,
that's another
yeah,
story
it is
for another
story.
day. And so how do people actually reach you if they're thinking, you know, they're faced with a scenario that they're really not quite sure how to handle or which direction to go in? How do people get in touch with you, Alice?
So you can go straight to my website, which is simply my name, so alicemcdonald.com, and you can connect with me there, but I'm also on Facebook and on Instagram as well. It's the easiest way to reach me.
And if I say McDonald, it's spelled M small c.
M small c, so like
Capital
McDonald's
D.
as in the, you know, the eatery.
It's like
Golden Arches.
McDermott. I'm
Like McDermott,
yes.
It's at McDonald,
Yes,
yeah.
I'm sure you get the MAC quite often as
And
well.
what about the space in between that kerfuffles everything? You know, sometimes people do a space between Mac and D.
Oh my God, so I literally have a problem with the Service WA app because of this.
Same as I can't get my
I've never heard of this before.
because of I can't register Service
Really?
because they put a space
Yeah.
in between, and my Medicare says something different.
Oh my gosh,
Isn't
that
it?
sounds
It's
like
Like we can't
bizarre.
identify you because there's a space.
It is a space. It is hilarious. But I really recommend that people who are going through this uncertain time reach out to you, because when you're going, everything's up in the air, your mind can be scattered, you can't see things clearly, and for someone just to hone it all back in for you and help you just to really focus your energy on the progression of it all, so that you're not just getting bogged down in the whole, because it can be sad, it can be, up in the
That's
air.
right.
It's just
It's a
that.
roller coaster of emotions, because the thing is, this person that you're with is, in some sense, is still your best friend in many ways. I have no doubt. But you've just decided that your values are still aligned, your hearts, but your hearts aren't necessarily aligned in the same direction any longer. And so
Big
that
change and realization.
you don't want to hurt your best friend. No, none of us would want to ever do
It's
that.
actually one of the things that's really challenging for a lot of women, especially if they have been in a relationship for a long time, especially when they go to, potentially look at legal stuff or financial stuff. Like, they often feel, and I certainly can relate to this, you feel like you're betraying that person, right?
A sense of betrayal.
In
yeah.
order to look after yourself, it often feels like you're doing the wrong thing by your now ex-partner.
And and with that, and
then they ultimately
guilt.
may go on the defense if they feel, that it's very
It's a really challenging space to be in.
And do you share with your clients resources and how, what kind of messages do you find that you're giving to these individuals?
Well, it really depends on where they come to me at. So often people are just catastrophizing about the future, right? But often what we'll do is we'll have a look at, well, what resources can you tap into? Do you need to go and seek some legal advice? Do you need to go and seek some financial advice? Would it be a good idea for you to go and speak to your GP right now? Because GPs are really well equipped at helping people with your health during that time. For example, if you're not sleeping,
Yes, that's
Yeah,
right.
it has a
Absolutely.
knock-on
Are you
effect.
looking after your mental health, that sort of thing? So yeah, bringing together all of those different
Those are things you wouldn't even
elements.
think about.
I know.
I'm just
That's
in
right.
survival mode at those times.
Exactly, and that's why it's so important to, you know, pull together a team that can help you, right? Because you can't think. And actually, I was talking to another lady in the US who is a divorce coach. She says about 25% of your cognitive ability actually drops during this space because you're just under so much stress, and you just feel like you're a zombie half the time.
Yeah, I think
I'm a mumsby at the minute.
Yeah, I
A
know.
mummy and a zombie together.
A mumsby, I've never heard of that.
Have 6 kids and you know all about it.
6 children.
How about not? I'll just stick with my 2.
Yeah, we'll not go. That's another conversation.
Well, I'd like you to stay with us. And so just on the flavour of love, we've got a bit of ABBA coming up with Give Me a Man After Midnight. Hello, hello. You are back in the room with a Monday morning motivation show with Karen and Ali. How are you, Karen?
I am very good. Ali, how are you going?
I'm going well. We've had a busy weekend. We've been working. We've been schmoozing. Is it
Well,
schmoozing?
Really didn't do
Socialising.
very much this weekend.
Well, we were drinking and eating nibbles at a book launch yesterday.
We were at a bookstore opening
Bookstore.
event and drinking champagne. That's not work.
That's right, I know. Well, we can pretend it is. That's what I told my husband anyway. So
Okay, yeah, we were working really hard.
with the champagne flute.
Then
But
I ran home and got my kids and brought them up to the foreshore. 'Cause I was like, I feel terrible. There's kids things happening. So but it was so good up there. Such a good vibe on the foreshore.
It was so busy on Rocky Foreshore. But we have a wonderful guest with us today, and it is the one and only Alice McDonald. How are you doing?
I'm doing really great. I'm having a great time here today.
Well, I'm glad that you're staying with us. And so, yeah, we've been chatting in the break, and there's so many more things that I would like to ask you, or maybe you to have a chat about. Let's maybe touch on more resources. Would that be okay? Because you mentioned
Yeah, we totally can.
something special on your website.
Yeah, so on my website, I created a workbook for, you know, anybody that's going through, you know, a separation or divorce, and it outlines the, you know, the 4 steps that I say are, you know, important for people to look after going through that phase, you know, to get some clarity and some confidence moving forward. The first step of it is, you know, having a look at, you know, what things do you need to keep running, like the basics that, no kidding, things like you need to feed yourself, you may need to do things with the kids, you need to kind of keep your house in a reasonable state so that, you know, you don't turn around and life feels even worse than it already is.
Yep.
You know, things like that, you know, to consider that sort of thing.
Great practical steps, though.
Keep the head above the water.
Yeah, no, you know, because there's nothing worse. Like, you know, dishes is a great example, you know, like, you know.
No, that's my everyday life, though. You know.
Yeah, but you
My
also
dish-
mentioned you've got 6 kids, right?
and I am the dishwasher.
Yeah, I've got my dishwasher's just died, so it's R.I.P. in our house at the moment, and so yeah.
The dishes is a great example, right? Because,
Absolutely,
you know,
it is
if
messy.
you just leave them there, and if you're not feeling great, you might leave them there another day, and then you might leave them there another day, you know.
And
then
things
all
start
of a
to
sudden-
grow in them.
Yeah, and you come downstairs and you're like, oh God, I don't want to deal with that, and you're already not feeling great. So, you know, some practical steps about how you manage those when, you know, you're not feeling great and you're not feeling up to it.
Yeah.
So that kind of thing. And the second part of it is really about, well, what other professionals do you want to engage, or who else can help you? Because the best way to get through this is to build yourself a team. And so it really outlines, you know, who you might want to engage.
A support network.
Yeah, support
that
network.
safety net.
Yeah, the support network, and, you know, other professionals you might want to look at as well, because, you know, they deal with this stuff all of the time. Like, they have all the research, they have the training, they are the best people to help you.
And maybe even a cleaner's a good idea.
No,
Yeah, that's right.
no, absolutely advocate for a
Yeah.
cleaner. Yeah, and, you know, it's one of those things where you're like, oh, I don't want to spend a lot more money right now. But, you know, well, if you look at it from a mental health
It's
perspective.
clear in your mind.
Exactly,
declutter.
right. You know that once a week or once every 2 weeks or even once a month, you know, that things are not going to get out of hand. You know, your floors aren't going to be, you know, feral.
I've got a cleaner, and I tell you what,
understand for floors.
I've had a cleaner for, 14 years, and, you know, we call her Auntie Gillian, and she comes in and she just takes charge of the house, and it keeps me on track, because I think
Exactly.
I'm
yeah.
happy to go to work. I'm happy to work extra hours because I know Gillian's coming in to look after us,
Yes.
you know, and she's used to babysit and rock my baby to sleep, and now he's 6'2", and so, you know, she's still going to spank him because his bedroom is always so untidy when she comes in.
We all need a Gillian in our lives.
We
don't
do. We
I just
absolutely
wanted to in the cupboard as well as a hairdresser, right? You know, for when you need a blow wave on that particular day. Yeah. So looking at, you know, what resources and things like cleaners are exactly that sort of thing that you might engage, as well as all of, you know, the things that people automatically think of, like, you know, legal and financial stuff. And then the third part of it is, you know, how do you continue to add fun and joy into your life, even though this is a really rubbish time to be going through, because your energy is being drained by all of those things that are really hard. But you also need something to pick your energy up. And it may be something as simple as, like, for me, I love fresh flowers in the house. Like, I literally see them, they take my breath away. I'm like, oh, you know, and that brings joy to my life. And then looking at, well, who brings joy to your life, you know. So really starting to have a look at your life and look at that sort of stuff.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because it's not just about the things, but it's the people. Some people can actually really add value and pep you up and build you up and help give you additional confidence and help you with that clarity. But there are other people that, you know,
energy vampires. You're talking about.
Well, let's just call it what it is.
I've never heard that term
I
either, but I think that's great.
They're not in my circle.
Yeah,
but it's absolutely, isn't it?
You have to declutter sometimes those friendships.
Yes, you really do. It's a time to be selfish and look after yourself
and your family.
Yeah,
you know,
well, you have to pour into yourself to be able to pour into others, and I learned that the hard way, you know, many years ago. And we need to prioritize joy. I'm very much an advocate. My next TED talks about the forgotten art of enjoying life, because people are not prioritizing joy.
I love
where
it.
there's joy, there is success in everything, you know.
Yeah, very much so. And adding those pockets of joy and moments of fun and connecting with those people that lift you up is what you really need during this space.
Well, I'm just going to jump in, because secretly, when you actually left the room, I've already got Alice's book lined up with a publisher. Karen McDermott.
Come and talk to me. These women need these books. I need your book.
Yeah, absolutely.
Can you get it published by the end of the year?
That's right.
Sure, why not? Just create some amazing productivity.
It's already in there. Alice. We just take it out. We get it onto paper. Amazing.
Thank you so much for joining us today.
You're so welcome.
It's been a joyful session, and I'm really delighted that, you know, we can share this with our listeners, so as they have got a resource in you that they can reach out to for that support, for that clarity, and to build that confidence. So I hope you come back and see us again sometime.
For sure.
Please
why not?
do.
Yeah, absolutely.
We can't guarantee we'll be more organised, but we'll be
never.
here.
So it means I don't have to be as prepared, right?
Who wants to be
Relax,
organised? Who wants to be organised? So moving on to now a little bit more music, and it is Elton John, Dua Lipa with Cold Heart.